want to discuss a new album dropping in this fall, 2014.
Yeah.
You started writing in 2013, right? Just about a year ago.
No, like in probably like 2010, 11 was when I first started writing for this record.
Okay. And well, I read that a lot of band members changed. So why do you, throughout the years, so why do you choose to work with so many different artists? Is it, I don't know, why?
A mix of things. I mean, it can either be because of their availability or because of, you know, what they add, you know, to music, or what different people can add to music. Sometimes you'll get to a different stage in life, I think oftentimes, where you want to change what you're doing and how you interact and what kind of music you play and who you play with. It kind of like, you know, just goes with that. At the same time, I love solidity. I played with the same drummer in this project since the beginning. We've jammed since a long time, since we were like 12, 13, when both of us first started playing our instruments. And there's something about playing with people for a really long time, and there's also something about playing with new people. In this record, there's like the live lineup is a solid thing. It's me, the drummer, a bass player I played another band with, and a keyboard player who is, like I said, originally a percussionist. And the four of us have played in a lot of different contexts together, so we know each other really well for a few years. But now, you know, we're solidifying and excited to have that build up of like the longer we play, you know, like whatever it is, however long this tour cycle is, whatever this album is, will be, you know, the same thing, and probably beyond that too. But I just kind of go one album at a time and one song at a time kind of thing. But yeah, it's like I love the feeling of playing with people for a long time. It's one of the best feelings.
And you write all the material yourself, all right? You write the first album when you were 18, 19, 17, 18?
Yeah, 17, 18.
And now you're 23, 24?
23.
So is there a big difference in the 4 years you've been growing as a person and as a musician as well? Can you see a big difference between those 4 years?
Yeah, I think so.
The album is called, at best, Cuckold. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah. Cuckold or Cuckold, yeah, however you pronounce it.
Can you explain the title, maybe?
It's just like, you know, it's just a title. I thought it sounded good, and yeah. I didn't have a title on my first record. It was a self-titled, so I was like, okay, I gotta figure out something, you know.
And can you remember when the album title popped up?
Yeah, I was in a train station in San Francisco. We were like the BART station is what they call it in the Bay Area, public transit. And we had just come home from recording at the studio. We were heading to our hotel, basically, and or I think I was staying at somebody's house or something that night. But we were like, you know, just next to the train, and I was thinking album titles, and that one came to mind.
And does it refer to anything, or is it just?
Yeah, I suppose it does, but it's I also like to write from a kind of like a stream of consciousness mode in general, with lyrics and song titles and music itself. So yeah, it's, you know, from that zone.
I read that there are 2 songs on the album which are considered the basic tracks. Which are those?
The which tracks?
Who formed the basic of the album. You know, I read that there were 2 songs on the album that formed the basic.
The basis?
Yeah.
I don't know about, no, not really actually. Yeah. Everything I wrote for it was just kind of, you know, I wrote and picked out the best songs. That
was there one song particularly that you knew from then on? This is the kind of theme I wanted to write the whole album in?
Not really. Yeah. I go by I just try to write songs, and then if I have enough songs to make an album out of, is when I, you know, start conceptualizing how I could fit, you know, these collections of songs together in different combinations and sequences and stuff like that.
You said that the ballad aspect of the record you wanted to work on in an interview before. Was that something that occurred spontaneously, or was it well overthought that you wanted to put that on the album?
Definitely spontaneously. I think I got into listening to a lot of different music. I mean, of course, over the past 4 or 5 years. So that ended up being, you know, some of those kind of like long-form songs and epics were something that I feel like I got into more you know, and something I kind of wanted to include. I thought like those are types of songs that can be really musically stimulating and in dramatic ways, and also usually are very lyrically focused. So yeah, so there's I noticed myself looking back at all this, at the album and the songs, that kind of like is sort of like a ballad-esque thing going on in some of it.
And is there one or two particular songs you're more proud of than the rest, or is it?
I mean, I love the whole thing. I'm really stoked on the moments where I feel like in the album, throughout it, where I like was able to get, you know, like instrumentation that was interesting or sounds that were interesting, kind of like the recording side of things or the musician side of things that I kind of geek out about like you know, whether it's guitar parts or piano parts and just all sorts of things. I'm really proud about like a lot of aspects of the record. We took a lot of time to like get sounds. The bassist and my drummer that played on the record, we just like really cared about getting good drum sounds and good bass sounds and guitar tones and checking in with each other, and when we were doing this basic tracking and just making sure that we were happy with it. And it took us time, but we were all, you know, everybody and the engineers we were working with we were all kind of on board to do that, you know, and stuff like that.
Where do you get your inspiration from when do you need something to write a song or a lyric? Or
yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like I always have something, I guess, kind of, maybe, you know, there's always something you're thinking about, and I try to be as direct from myself to expressing myself, you know, with inspiration.
And is there maybe some event or person or story that is particular to a song
or the record? There's a few. I mean, there's somebody I was dating like very seriously for like 2 years, like a few years ago, and at the end of touring, you know, our relationship deteriorated because I'd been out of town all the time, and I wrote a lot of songs about that, you know, recovering from it, and then also other relationships I was in later, you know, in the past couple of years, like serious ones, and connections that were not only like of love but of creativity and stuff like that, you know.
Do you feel that you've grown, not as much as a person but also as a musician with this album in comparison to the
I hope so. I think I've definitely tried to, for sure, because I wanted to learn a lot of other instruments and like stuff like that. So I think, yeah, I'm kind of trying to make myself more of a well-rounded musician, and yeah, and then after doing a lot of learning more instruments, I started trying to push myself again to get better at guitar, which was my first instrument, and to kind of like try pushing that to another place too. So yeah, I try to.
And do you discuss your music with family or friends or persons that are near to you? So
yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, and them to me, you know, that's like, I feel like that's the most inspiring thing, is like music comes from other music and people. And
do they advise you, and then you take it with you, and then you want to do with it what you want to do with it?
Yeah, yeah, it depends. You can take it with a grain of salt, and you get different people's opinions depending on people you trust. You don't want to ask too many people about it, and you want to just kind of do your own thing too. But yeah, I think that input is really, it's kind of all we have sometimes, is, you know.
Now that the album is finished, you're going on a tour as well in the fall, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel excited to finally show your and let your music here to a live audience?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really excited for the record to be out at the same time, because I want people to hear the types of recordings that we got, and also, yeah, and to then voice them live. It's always really fun. We've played quite a few shows doing a lot of these songs, but we've kind of been like, you know, taking it really easy. I didn't want to get out there too much, you know, so it was a perfect amount just to like get out and play shows, you know, test out the songs and then come back in and, you know, write more and stuff like that. So yeah.
And are you already considering or working on a third, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of songs left over from this one and from before, whatever. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, sometimes we're like a couple years ago did a short tour in Europe, and playing songs that didn't even make it on this record that I'd written at the time, and like stuff like that. I want to kind of figure out how to incorporate a lot of those songs, and then when I got more and more into writing this one, and currently writing still, like just kind of as much as I can. Yeah, totally. So I probably have like 2 or 3 Avi Buffalo album kind of things that I'm like different kind of, like there's quite a few songs I'm working on, and like could conceptualize putting together in different ways and recording different ways and stuff.
And for this album, you predicted that you wanted to work on the ballads, as I mentioned before, and
a little bit. I didn't really predict it, but
okay.
yeah.
I thought. But is there something you wanted to develop yourself in maybe a third album?
Yeah, I mean, I want to involve a lot more kind of like electroacoustic integration, which is something I've also gotten really into the past few years, and I wanted to keep this record very simple in a lot of ways, but a lot of stuff working on now that involves synthesis and sequencing and pattern-based music, and combining that, with improvisation and spontaneity and with songwriting type of things. But yeah, I want to get into it to a lot of different stuff. I'll go on forever about different kinds of things. I want to do an orchestral album that like play piano, sing, or guitar and sing, and have like a live ensemble playing and arrange with somebody for that, because I really liked records that do that. And I like the idea of making albums that then can be recontextualized. Like I would really love for people to get into sampling my stuff and using it, because it comes from kind of this song-based process, but then it'd be really cool to hear it, for a number of reasons, like, chopped up or reappropriated. That's something that's like another favorite instrument of mine that I've gotten into.
And do you think you're gonna make music the rest of your life? Is it something you need to do?
Seems like I definitely have to. Yeah, I definitely need to. It calms me down. Does a lot of things. I love I've always been into creative things since I was like a baby or something, literally, but yeah, I found music for some reason when I started playing it. It was like a good balanced connection to the real world that I'd never had before. So I definitely want to carry that as long as I live.
And you mentioned that you always wanted to express yourself creatively. And besides music, what is it then you do as well?
Like I said before, I was like really into writing from like an early age, and into drawing, visual arts and stuff like that. Dance, because like dance is like a huge part of my soul, I feel like, and like just all sorts of stuff, just kind of anything really. Video, just thinking, just like all sorts of stuff.
Do you take that with you when you're on stage live as well? All those different kind of things that makes you an artist?
With this project, it's been very, about the music, and there's kind of a bit of a conscious effort I make to just keep it about the music, but I'm always thinking about how I could expand, organically with those kinds of things too,
Final question: if you can pick an artist you wanted to collaborate with in the near future, do you have some?
It'd be pretty cool to work with like Drake, and yeah.
Can you explain why?
I really like his lyrics, and I like his like instrumentals and like his production, and I just think he's really interesting. It'd be kind of exciting. I really want to work with Lil B, because I really like that guy's like lyrics, and like his energy really like brings me to like a really really happy meditational place. It's like an Oakland-based rapper, like Northern California, and yeah. And then there's other people I really want to collaborate. Like there's this guitarist who I really admire, Nels Cline, who I've been really into for years, and I got to know from going to see him play a lot when I was younger. Like he's like a jazz guitarist, an avant-garde punk experimental musician, and he's also really into incorporating, I feel like, other elements other than music and internalizing it and making it into music, and also a very disciplined musician. And we've talked a little bit about making like an improvised guitar record together, or some sort of like some sort of like recordings together before. So that's like, I hope that happens soon. That'd be really fun.
Thank you for your time.